welcomed one and all as we celebrate the magic of women in cinema at our Film Coven. We're your hosts, Kelli Mehan.
I'm Melissa Woody, and today we are inducting Hermione Granger into our cinema circle. How are you doing, Kelli?
I'm so excited for this one. It's sticking with the Coven theme and inducting, in my opinion, just the greatest witch. Definitely someone who I think is really an icon, especially for our generation. I mean, Hermione's one of those characters that made it amazing to be smart, to be a girl and to be the smartest in your class, to especially from the book version, like to have, they always described the brown frizzy hair and the buck teeth. Like I love Emma Watson and I love this portrayal, but like there's a few differences between the books to the movies, and one of them is just how gorgeous they really do make her at times. They give her more the ugly duckling treatment, I think. So just this being one of those characters that's just been great to grow up with, and the film versions is just it cements her legacy. Melissa, how do you find the character of Hermione?
Yeah, the Harry Potter franchise in general is definitely something I grew up with. I went to the midnight book signings. I went to the midnight movie premieres. So I've been with Hermione for a long time, and she's definitely somebody that I looked up to. You know, she's somebody who is very confident and clever, and uses her wits and smarts, and it's something that's like praised about her character. And she definitely has this like curiosity and loves to learn, and that's definitely something I personally loved. And so it was nice to connect to a character like that, and just again a positive female role model, I feel, for young girls out there.
Absolutely. She loves school. I love just like even the full in teacher's pet sort of aspect. Like how many times throughout the film do you hear, oh, like I love that because yes, this one right here used to do it. So I like that we're getting, as you sort of said, like that positive feedback. Like it's cool or it's okay, or look at how if you are like this, what you could become, or how that manufactures. It's fantastic. What are we doing today, Melissa?
Yeah, so we're kind of trying out something new, and we're doing a bracket of our favorite Hermione moments and kind of ranking them and breaking it down to what is the number one kind of favorite Hermione moment, because she has a lot, and so we kind of condensed it down to 16, and they'll kind of battle off against each other, and we'll see what ends up making our number one moment of Hermione.
Absolutely. When we knew we wanted to do the characters, like, oh, 8 movies, like it's pretty intense. Plus, we didn't really want to do just going through each movie and what she happens for. But you said something so interesting to me when we were planning for this. You said, I wonder how it's going to be like just looking specifically for the Hermione moments. And did you find on your most recent rewatch some difference of opinions?
Yeah, I not so much opinions, but I think I just like picked up on little things. Like this is like super minor and probably kind of weird to like bring up, but something I noticed is Emma Watson's a great screamer. like, like she has some moments throughout the franchise where I'm like, man, she has a really good like movie scream. I'm like, I feel like she should be in a horror movie, and use that elsewhere. No, I think it was cool watching it through the lens of like focusing on Hermione, and it made me love the character more. It didn't really necessarily change an opinion or thought. I was just like, I love this girl. Like she's just so confident and like no nonsense. And I do love the development of like, you know, she kind of starts off as this like know-it-all goody two shoes, and then that definitely like develops over time. So it was a lot of fun. How about you? Did you kind of find anything on your watches, kind of having that
Yeah,
perspective of Hermione?
very similar. Like obviously, as you sort of said, starts really know it all. So to see that sort of wax and wane where she's still confident, but maybe doesn't need to exert it as much, sort of drops off a bit. What I found the most interesting is that I'd already watched the first 4 movies before we started like locking in that this is what we were going to do. We talked about it, but like, yes, this is what we're doing. So when I came in on number 5, Order of the Phoenix, she is nowhere in it, and I was pissed trying to find moments because the way we sort of developed is we picked we broke it down into 2 movies at a time. So we picked 4 from the first 2, 4 from the 3, 4 from 5, 6, 4 from 7 and 8. We thought that's the fairest way to sort of divide it all, and it is sort of a little bit the different eras of Hermione we get, those little snippets in between. So when I'm trying to look for ones from 5, I'm like, this is shit. Like, she is barely in it. And I get you condensing the thickest book down, but I just really, it was the first time I was like, felt relegated to like girl character. And I hated it. But she still had some great moments. So let's, without further ado, get into our bracket. The way this bracket was devised, as I sort of said, we picked the moments from each movie. I have to give a really big shout out to my friends Thomas and Ross, who I went to for some advice. I'm like, if you could pick, what would you throw out? Just to, so it's not like all just our perspective, like it's good to get a little bit of feedback. And then after we picked our moments, they were focus groups. So again, thank you so very much for everyone who filled out the focus group survey, because then we were able to seed and rank it, and then we're going to see who's going to battle it out. So we have punching Draco in the face as the number 1 seed. It's Leviosa.
It's Leviosa, not Leviosa.
You have the emotional range of a teaspoon.
Just because you've got the emotional range of a teaspoon.
Selflessly, when she said goodbye to her parents and wiped their memories.
Obliviate.
We could have been killed, or worse, expelled.
Before either of you come up with another clever idea to get us killed, or worse, expelled.
When they participate in a dueling club in Order of the Phoenix, and she absolutely kicks Ron's butt across the floor. Harry and Hermione dancing in Deathly Hallows. The Yule Ball entrance and the dress. We love a costume here. Using the time turner and changing the fates for Buckbeak and Sirius. Creating Dumbledore's army, as I sort of said, one of the only standout moments of Order of the Phoenix.
Hi.
Creating the Polyjuice potion in Chamber of Secrets, and unfortunately picking up the hair of the cat and turning into a cat. Sort of like, I would love that to happen. Like, that would be so cool if you could just become a cat, but okay.
Look at my face.
Destroying the Horcrux in the Chamber of Secrets at the end of Deathly Hallows. Casting wards and being overtly prepared for Deathly Hallows, being like the person who has been ready for weeks and then pretty much saves everyone by being able to cast all those protection charms and hide them.
Salvia Hexia.
Where am I up to? Oh, potions class. I loved this moment. I want to talk about it when we get to it in depth, but the potions class with Professor Slughorn, where she smells the Amarantia and describes what it is, and then when she sees Harry succeeding, and she has this frazzled hair moment that I sent you as a gift the other day, and I got to add that to my repertoire. I love it. The troll in the bathroom scene, troll in the dungeon, but in the bathroom, when the crew sort of first find friendship.
Swish and flick.
And next time there's a ball, ask me first. That moment from Goblet of Fire.
Next time there's a ball, pluck up the courage and ask me before somebody else does.
So Melissa, give us our first bracket, please.
Yeah, so our first battle, or our first breakdown is punching Draco in the face, and next time there's a ball, ask me. So what do we think on these two?
A number 1 to a number 16 seed's always going to be just the biggest uphill battle. Obviously, this punching Draco in the face scene. So I have a weird mixed feelings about these sorts of tropes, especially as I get older, from teenage years onwards. As a kid, I think it's very like standing up for herself. You know, Draco is particularly awful to Hermione with the derogatory statements with things like mudblood, really picks on her. So to see her just absolutely pop him one in the face feels justified. But I'm also someone, the older I get, and having been in a similar situation, do believe a lot of the times if you can solve the problem without violence is better. And I feel the double standard, which usually sucks, is that a lot of times female characters are able to exert this moment of violence, a punch, a slap, I think of 10 Things I Hate About You, like, this is for my sister, this is for my date, and this is for me. I really, anytime people say that statement, it makes my skin crawl a little bit. I don't enjoy it. And there's usually no repercussions. It's usually like a good for her. And I always have a really mixed response to that. That being said, it is the moment. It is empowering in a sense. You can't say he didn't deserve it. So that would be my vote to progress. Melissa, what do you think?
Yeah, no, I mean that's a really valid point. And I think sometimes, to be honest, when I'm watching movies, I just get so caught up in the fantasy of like punching my enemy that I'm like here for it. But like, yeah, like in real life, like definitely I like would rather not use violence to solve my issues. But I will say I kind of love this moment with Hermione punching Draco, because the whole kind of thing between the two of them is, like you're saying, the derogatory words that Draco's been using against Hermione. And Hermione is, the brightest witch of her age. She could have easily used magic to kind of get back at him, and I kind of love that she uses her muggleness to just punch him. Like, I love that. So yeah, I mean, out of these two, again, I do love the next time there's a ball Aspie scene, like, because I do love the romance between Hermione and Ron that kind of blossoms through the movies and the books. But yeah, I gotta go with punching Draco in the face.
And I think that the next time there's a ball, ask me sort of moment is a good culmination of Ron and Harry always thinking Hermione is going to be the one by her side, but she has blossomed and she is becoming a young lady and is growing up and finding other friends and finding other people and being attractive to other people. So I think that is a big turning point in their little trio dynamic as well. So I don't want to understate that moment too, but yeah, we got to move Draco ahead. Okay, now we have an 8-9 seed, so this is going to be interesting to see how we go. You're going to have to edit out all my leg slaps because I am psyched. It's Thanksgiving weekend, but this is my sports. Like, I love it. This is nerdy sports, and I'm here for it. Using the time turner and changing people's fates, or I guess just having the time turner throughout Prisoner of Azkaban, and then kicking off from the moment before, the Yule Ball entrance and dress. Melissa, which of these is speaking to you? Describe these moments to you, what they mean.
Yeah, I mean, this truly feels like a 9 and 8 seed, because I love both of these moments fairly equally. So good job kind of on our focus group helping with the seedings, because I'm like, damn, this is hard. Yeah, I'll start with the Yule Ball. So like the Yule Ball entrance, like we were kind of talking about before, I really think this is the moment of Hermione kind of coming out as like a woman, coming out as her own, because yeah, she's been a part of this trio and maybe not taken serious as like a woman, or like she's just kind of been like, oh, she's the brains of the operation, like she's just this smart friend. And I think this is a very defining moment in her femininity, like her becoming a woman. And she looks gorgeous. I love the dress. It's such an iconic, I feel like, moment when I'm thinking of Hermione. I think of this moment. But with that said, I love the time turner usage in the third movie, and because it feels almost like this like plot twist, because it's like, oh, okay, we're kind of seeing the same scenes but in a different perspective a few different times, and we kind of find out that like Hermione saves the day. She saves Buckby, she saves Sirius, and she saves the crew yet again, it feels like. Because I feel like in each movie, she does have a little moment of like saving the day. So with that said, I feel like I have to go with that one, because I feel like it's more Hermione's like shining moment in a plot point of kind of this franchise. How do you feel about the two?
I'm so on the same wavelength. Like, this is splitting hairs in importance, because then they've got two wildly different vibes. I really like how you sort of said about this being Hermione's saving the day moment for the time turner, because when you think about that original cover of Prisoner of Azkaban, it's Harry and Hermione riding Buckbeak. So that's sort of what really sticks in my brain for that. But I have to sort of remove myself from the books a little bit. it's been great to see her. I always really loved that plot point from the books and from the movie, because it shows Hermione taking extra classes and wanting extra work. And I just always thought that was really cool. As someone usually prescribed or given extension work and extension classes, that again spoke to me a lot of like, oh wow, look at this girl changing time just so she can take more classes and be smarter. I just think that's so cool. For the movies, though, I don't know. I guess it's because Harry's also there as well. I don't vibe with it as much, and she sort of just jumps in and out. I think it's maybe a more effective book, whereas you sold me with the description of her coming down the stairs in that dress. I do think that is one of the primary things I think of with Hermione. I wanted to buy that dress when I was in the Wizarding World. They only made it in children's sizes, or the adult size was very expensive. I've had hairstylists that I've gone to and asked for a wedding, like, give me the Hermione hair. So that is so vain, but I think you describe it in a much nicer way of her coming into her femininity and bouncing off what we talked about next time there's a ball, ask me. I think we always know Hermione is smart and brilliant, and it's great to see that. But this is a big change in her personality, how she's perceived by others. So I'm going to go with your ball entrance and dress. Where would you like, where do we feel? If we are on opposing sides, how are we going to break this?
No, I think you actually turned me a little bit, because I am having a hard time, like, I need to remove myself from the books and just like the full plot points, and like if I'm thinking more of like a cinematic moment, I do think it's the Yule Ball entrance, and I literally even said it's the moment I think of when I think of Hermione. So so I think
you debated yourself into it, love.
yeah.
Give yourself the point.
So we're gonna go Yule Ball entrance and dress.
Okay, our 5 to 12. We could have been killed, or worse, expelled, and then destroying the Horcrux in the Chamber of Secrets. Now, I'm really surprised the destroying the Horcrux in the Chamber of Secrets moment is so high. I guess it's because we get the Ron Hermione kiss, and that tension has definitely, again, only watching from 5 to 8 recently. The Ron Hermione story is not my story. I've spoken before about loving other doomed romances to you, Melissa. So I am a Harry Hermione apologist. Like, that is the pairing I want to see. That's okay. For what I'm presented, this is a very cute moment, being that they so clearly have been after each other for a long time. So to see them finally kiss and be on with their lives, and to also see that, you know, from Chamber of Secrets, it's Harry that went down to the chamber and killed the basilisk. So to see Ron and Hermione, well, I know Ron and Lockhart and everyone's there, but like to do the doing of it all, like it's great to see them be off on themselves with no Harry around and kick ass. I think that's also a really good moment. So that's a bit of a twofer. But I mean, 1 and 2 have the most special place in my heart, especially in a movie. You and I and Mike have talked about it a bit, that there's just something that really captures our youth and our childhood, and I can't not see it every time I watch it. That John Williams score kicks in, and I'm loving it. And Emma Watson steals that first movie so badly, and her delivery, or worse, expelled. It's so stupid, because of course, if you were dead, what's it matter if you're expelled? And I just love that the smartest person has said the dumbest thing, and it's great. I love it. It would have to be that for me. How do you find these moments?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you here. So kind of watching through these again, I think one of my notes literally for the first one was basically every quote is iconic. Because like everything,
she's a quote queen.
Yeah, like everything she says in the first two. Well, she's not so much in the second one, or she's definitely the shining like star between the two, like the first two, more in the first one. But yeah, no, I love this quote because it very much, I feel like, describes her character of like, she would rather, like, her worst fear is being expelled from Hogwarts, not dying.
Give me death rather than give me turning away from the school. Yes.
And so I feel like it really shows like her Gryffindor side of her, of like, she's not even scared of death. But, you know, because I think when you think of Hermione, it's like, oh, like you would think she'd be in Ravenclaw because of, you know, wanting
intelligence.
You know, yeah, the intelligence of it all. But like, I think a big part of Hermione's character is her bravery. And so I just I just love the delivery of this line. And then it's just like, give me death. I don't want to be expelled.
I love it.
So
I
yeah,
love it. And then
definitely that one.
and then just walks off. Like, she also knows how to deliver a line and then just exit room. Like, so yes, please move 5 ahead.
Before either of you come up with another clever idea to get us killed, or worse, expelled.
Our next battle sees a number 13 seed casting wards and being overly prepared. As I sort of mentioned earlier, Hermione knew some trouble was brewing. She's always the logical one of the group. So she has prepared a bag of holding, whatever it's called in the wizarding world, and it has just been stacking away tents, has been stacking away books and supplies and medicines and everything. And then another thing, when I think of Hermione as well, another moment of that is when she is casting these wards around their tent. It just shows how advanced, like, I think they've only just turned past the trace limit. So this is her really starting to be able to flex her magical muscles in the real world. We just see how amazing, like, that potential is really starting to be realized. And then number 4, also from the same film, when she selflessly says goodbye to her parents, and I think it's obliviate, or is that? I think is the spell to wipe their memories. And when you see that her face starts disappearing from the photos, the Back to the Future of it all, but in an intentional way, it is one of those heroic moments that isn't a cheer. It's just, as you're sort of saying, that's the Gryffindor side of whatever means necessary to get the job done, and being brave to take those steps and to protect them for the greater good. Melissa, where do you land on these 2 moments here?
Yeah, it's tough because it's like, I feel like her kind of being overly prepared, it's very much like her Mary Poppins moment of all the stuff in the bag, and like and like just being ready for anything. And I don't know, I think just like the emotional like heaviness of like selflessly saying goodbye to her parents, like that's definitely the one I'm leaning more towards, because I just feel like it's not like a very long moment, and it's fairly quick in the movie, but I think it's really emotionally effective. And like you said, it's like she very much is all about like for the greater good. I feel like that's shown throughout all the films in a lot of different ways. And yeah, so like out of these 2 moments, I have to go with that one. I just think that's more of that emotionally heavy moment, and I think it shares a lot about her character too. What about you?
I know, I very much agree. It's a magical moment that's non-magical. It's so based in humanity and emotion, and again showing that muggle side to her. I think not every other student at Hogwarts would have to take the same steps that she's having to take, so that sacrifice just says even more. So I definitely, it's got to be number 4.
Obliviate.
All right. So next up we have the number 3 seed. You have the emotional range of a teaspoon. And the number 14 seed, potions class, and describing kind of what she's smelling from the potion, and then also just her kind of struggling in the potion class, and Harry doing significantly better. You were kind of talking about it before with the big hair. I love that sequence of her like kind of struggling in the class with that big hair kind of frazzled, because like so far we've really seen in her when Hermione's in class, she's excelling and she is running circles over everyone, it feels like, because like she just knows so much more, she like studies so much more and all of that. So it's kind of this nice change of pace a little bit, and like seeing her a little bit more vulnerable of like kind of struggling. And then I love that like she smells what is it? It's like spearmint toothpaste and fresh
cut grass,
and it's just like it's so specific, but like it makes sense to her character in a way. So I love that moment of kind of like vulnerability of her with that one. Versus the other one is just, it's a hilarious moment. I think it's when Harry's describing his kiss with Cho, that it was wet.
Yes.
Because I feel like Hermione very much is kind of the emotional support of both Harry and Ron throughout all of these movies, and just kind of like she just knows a lot more. She's just even more wise, not even just like knowledgeable on like the books of it all, but like I feel like she's just wise like about life as well. And she's like, you guys don't even know what you're talking about. Like, come on.
Yeah, think about what
What do you
she's
think?
going through. Like, yeah, it's hard. It's very two different sorts of vibes.
Yeah.
Truthfully, I lean towards the upset with the 14 and the potion class because for that moment, as you're describing, it's the first time you sort of see someone do better than her in class. She cannot handle that. And if it was me, neither could I. And the part that sells it for me is when Harry's reading from the textbook that's written by the Half-Blood Prince in Advanced Potions Making, and it's scribbled out, instead of to cut it, you crush it. So he does it and gets it all going. She's like, how did you do that? And he's like, crush it. She's like, it says cut. And I can just like I can imagine, I'm one of those people who's like, no, the book would have steered me wrong. In this book, it says to cut. So I will cut this and it will work. Like, that is the part that sells it for me. And as you sort of said, just as her hair starts getting frantic and just the look she's making at Harry, I think it's great comedic beats by Emma Watson. I think we get other emotional moments. And the emotional range of a teaspoon is a great zinger, but it's one that I've rediscovered on the watch and be like, oh yeah, that's funny. But rediscovering this moment here, and especially having a drought of great Hermione as herself, as a character, not with everyone else, not being so afflicted. Like, what's her thoughts and feelings in the moment? I loved this moment. So that's the pick for me.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna agree with you because, like, I just think it's more of a character building moment, and it might be the upset with our bracket, but that is the one I'm more leaning towards as well. I will say the emotional range of a teaspoon scene. I do appreciate, if I'm remembering it correctly. I think they all like laugh after she kind of says it.
Afterwards, yeah.
Yeah, and I do love that because it. Because I feel like she like says it so seriously, and then they kind of like get a good laugh of it. But yeah, in the grand scheme of like all the moments of Hermione, I'm just kind of like, that feels more like it's cute, but I think there's other moments that are better. Which I would say between these two, I would go with the potions class as well.
So our first super big upset. Love to see it.
Yes.
Okay, so our number 11, creating the polyjuice potion in Chamber of Secrets and turning into a cat. And in number 6, from the Order of the Phoenix, when they are doing dueling practice in Dumbledore's army in the Room of Requirement, and her and Ron step up to each other and she hits him with that stupefy. Really, that's a tough one because it's both her showing off knowledge, showing off prowess. Again, I've probably seen Chamber of Secrets more, so I do think of that, but it's not. Oh, it's hard because that creating the polyjuice potion is such a Hermione thing in the sense that she would be the only one to have read it out of a book and put it into practice. And I feel like that's, again, a big basis of the Hermione character, of her researching and I'm going to the library, and if she can't find the answers there, it's not happening. So her finding that knowledge and putting it into practice, and to them taking the time to get all the ingredients and to get the thing, and then to see that she ends up being a cat and not being able to participate in the polyjuice ritual of what they were planning to do to go down into Slytherin. But this moment kicks ass, like this dueling club bit, especially with Fred and George betting on who's going to win. And the part that kills me afterwards is not only does she hit the stupefy after Ron is so freaking smug, thinking it's like, yeah, whatever. And he comes up, shakes himself off and looks all embarrassed. His older brothers are there just like giggling. And so he's like, yeah, let her do that. It cuts to Hermione giggling with the other girls there. And I love that. It's a big, yeah, the girls moment. And that might be the one for me. Melissa, how do you find these moments?
Yeah, I would say these two are pretty tough, because like specifically probably out of all of the Harry Potter movies, actually Chamber of Secrets probably like holds the closest to my heart, because I had my like, what was it, 11th birthday singing in the theater. In the theaters with all my friends and like had a sleepover, so like that one just has such like a sentimental like value for me. And I do love that it's like, yeah, she's trying to like kind of use her wits, use her smarts to make this potion, and then it doesn't work out kind of as expected. So it's kind of this unexpected like comedic moment. And I do love the way that she looks as a cat too, like the bright orange. I think the effects of it all is great. The dueling club moment with Ron, I think she even calls him Ronald throughout this scene, if I'm remembering right, which I love when she kind of does that. I feel like that's her, she's trying to flirt. I feel like this is her way of flirting, is like, you know, stupefying Ron and like calling him Ronald. Yeah, I don't know, I'm a little torn. I kind of want to go more Polyjuice Potion, but then that means we are at odds with our choices.
No, let's do the Polyjuice Potion, because as you sort of said, it's the effects of the cat of it all. I really did enjoy that, and seeing it as a kid, like, that's pretty impressive. And again, like you were sort of saying, it's something she's put into practice and has gone wrong, and those are good Hermione growth moments. So I agree. Let's go Polyjuice.
Look at my face.
So next up, we have the number 7 seed Harry and Hermione dancing, and then the number 10 seed creating Dumbledore's army. So quite two different vibes of scenes. So the Harry and Hermione dancing is very, I feel like, sweet. It's definitely, I feel like, fairly iconic at this point. And I love their friendship between each other. I just feel like they've been through so much at this point in all the movies, and I think it's a really tender and sweet moment of them just kind of consoling each other, like, emotionally, and kind of having a fun moment of them dancing with each other. Versus creating Dumbledore's army, like, that's kind of a big deal. Like, they're, you know, these groups of kids that are trying to learn how to defend for themselves, and who is spearheading it? Hermione, because of course. So I feel like in regards to moments, I feel like I'm leaning more dancing, just because I feel like it's more of a moment, I guess, in my head. Versus creating Dumbledore's army was more, I feel like, I'm having a hard time, I think, like, picturing, like, that moment, I guess, more so. So I think I'm leaning more dancing. How do you feel about these two?
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing as you said. These are two moments when I saw them paired together. I'm like, this is really about the friendship between Harry and Hermione, because creating Dumbledore's army is very much Hermione's idea that, you know, if Voldemort's amassing an army, like, we need to make our own, and we need to get these kids prepared. If we're not being able to be taught proper defense against the dark arts, then you, Harry, you need to step up, because you're the one to show it and be the teacher. So I just love that she is that support, lift you up sort of friend. It's not that, the great thing about Hermione is that even though, like, in an intellectual way, she likes to be right and likes to show off, but she never feels the need to be the center of attention or things like that. Like, if Harry's got the skill set to do it, what is the best outcomes for all? So I think I didn't really realize she was the one to do it until just this most recent rewatch. And again, having a moment, having Order of the Phoenix have such a skint selection of moments for Hermione, I'm like, well, that's the standout then, is the fact that, you know, this awesome army preparing her peers to be ready is pretty significant. But it is the Harry and Hermione dancing. When I think of Deathly Hallows, that is the exact moment I think of every time. So one of the few reasons I want to rewatch it is to see that moment. It is these poor 17-year-old kids who have been through hell and back, and just to see this moment of levity, and Melissa, you know what kills me? They don't dance good. And that is the way you dance when you were 17 and you have a boy-girl friendship. You awkwardly sort of twirl and, like, hold hands and shimmy, and the music selection is great, and it just feels so authentic. It feels authentic to be an awkward teen, loving spending time with your friends, but just trying to blow off a bit of steam and have a bit of fun. I really enjoy this moment a lot. As you sort of said, it is, I think, an iconic moment of the movie franchise, especially. In the books, I'm sure it's nice, but this is one that I think lives outside of the books. So That's the one for me.
Completely agree. Moving on, Harry and Hermione dancing.
Okay, our final matchup is The 15 seed, the troll in the bathroom scene where I think of her as like hiding under the sinks and then getting smashed, and Emma Watson being a good screamer. I'm sure we get a few moments there. And then swish and flick that she tells Ron to do that, which really thematically ties up with the number 2 scene of earlier in the charms classes. It's Leviosa, not Leviosa. I feel like that's an easy one because if you start saying that to anyone, they know what you're talking about. That's a meme at this point. People enjoy saying it's Leviosa, like, and you put on your fake British accent when you do it as well. Like, no one's saying that with any other sort of accent and sounding that way. So that's the one for me.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. It is funny that they're kind of connected because, yeah, I believe Ron actually casts it correctly to kind of help Hermione in the scenario here. And I do love the bathroom scene because I feel like, this does cement like their friendship, the trio.
Yeah.
Kind of moving forward. And I love that Hermione takes the blame. Like when the professors kind of show up, she's like, it was my fault. And I love kind of seeing that side of her of like, I want to have friends and I'm going to take a chance and take the blame and kind of see what happens with these guys. And obviously the rest is history. But yeah, it has to be Leviosa. Like it has to be. It has to be.
I know for the longest time that was tied for first place. That was a close second seed, so that's interesting.
It's Leviosa, not Leviosa.
Okay, let's move it down. Our next matchup is another number 1 seed punching Draco in the face against the U-Ball entrance and dress. Melissa, gut instinct.
Oh man, this is rough. Because I feel like these are the 2 scenes. Like when I think of Hermione, these are the 2 scenes.
In the movie?
Like,
yeah.
When it comes to the movies, when I think of Hermione, when I think of Emma Watson playing Hermione, like these are the 2. So I mean, I love what I was saying earlier about the U-Ball, so I don't know. I think I might go with the upset and do the U-Ball.
I was thinking the same because as I sort of mentioned, I'm very mixed feelings about seeing that in movies and things. But I know that's a lot of my personal baggage, so can I dissuade myself from that and just look at the moment and be like, what is a best moment? Like if you ask people what it is, I think it is the punching of the Draco. But I want to support Hermione for being herself. Oh, goodness me. That is, as you sort of said, that's really what you think of, that ball and dress. Or are we being superficial then with loving the dress and the hair? Decisions.
I mean, we love costumes. I'm sorry. Also, really quick, a fun like behind the scenes moment. So apparently this scene of her punching Draco, like she actually punched Tom Felton a little too hard. Like he was like, I was not expecting that. And then she's like, I don't know, it came over me. Like I just like was really into the scene. So I do kind of love that little like behind the scene nugget.
Yeah,
but
and then you've got Harry going like, oh, nice one. So that's the cherry on top. So I'm gonna go the Draco. Who's gonna give in?
I'll give in because like I don't know. I am very like conflicted on both of these because I just love them both. And I know how much we love costumes here, but
let's do U-Ball. Let's do the U-Ball.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That scramble is real.
Let's celebrate her. Yeah, I think so. And as we sort of said, that is such a change in that character. That is such a pivotal moment in the way everyone sees her, how she sees herself. I think that's the thing.
Okay. Struggle is real, but we're gonna go with the U-Ball entrance.
There's just too many great moments.
Yeah.
Yes.
Truly. Okay. So up next we have we could have been killed or worse, expelled against selflessly saying goodbye to her parents. Talk about 2 very different moments, like emotionally speaking. It's tough because like we've talked about, I have such a sentimental value of the first 2. So like I think like gut instinct, I'm leaning more towards
me too, babe. Me
Okay.
too. Yeah, no, as you sort of said, like such a difference in tone, but the "we could have been killed or worse expelled" gives me the freaking giggles. Like I can't get over it. I've thought about that line since 2001, so like we gotta go with that at this point.
Okay, we are going to pick this.
There's some that are just going to be hard to beat, and that's one of them.
No, completely agree.
Before either of you come up with another clever idea to get us killed, or worse, expelled.
Oh, I just love the way some of these have matched up. Like in Potion's class, describing what she smells for Amorotia and struggling against Harry, versus creating the Polyjuice potion 4 years prior and it going wrong. So sort of two weird potion-esque things just happen to match up. Where are you leaning on this one?
Yeah, I think I guess it's the upset in regards to the seating, but I just really love that vulnerability of like her struggling in Potion's class. Yeah.
Me too.
So I think
that Half-Blood Prince moment's great.
Yeah, big hair, big energy. Yeah.
Big hair, lots of care.
All right. We're going with the big hair.
And our final one being Harry and Hermione dancing, and it's Leviosa, not Leviosa. And again, this is first to 7 movie, same as We Could Have Been Worse, Killed, Expelled, and Selfless Saying Goodbye. And again, just that tonal shift. What do you pick?
This one's really tough because I love the Harry and Hermione dancing scene, and I love the song that they use. Like it feels very iconic. But then this is the quote. Like this is the quote of Hermione is it's Leviosa, not Leviosa. Like it's hard to like not choose that one. So I feel like I'm leaning more Leviosa, but how are you feeling about it?
Oh, so conflicted, because like I said, I don't love Deathly Hallows. I reckon this is only the second or third time I've watched both of those movies. But for 10 years now, I think about that scene. I think about them dancing sums up that whole last arc. Oh, is it just the Harry and Hermione apologist in me that thinks that? No, it's the sweetness. It's the sweetness of it all and them being kids. Like, I love that. But it's like Alan hates Harry Potter, but he'll say like Leviosa. Like it's for everyone, that quote. Like people, it's the meme Leviosa.
Okay.
Swish and flick that shit to the semifinals.
Okay, it was tough.
And like I don't know, it's the giggles of it all, Melissa. Like the giggles are going to win out over the emotional moments. It's hard.
Oh, absolutely.
It's Leviosa, not Leviosa.
Okay, so we're getting close to the end here, and it's been really fun so far. So let's see what's going to make it to the end. So we have the U-Ball entrance and dress versus We Could Have Been Killed or worse, expelled. How are you feeling, Kelli?
I feel like I've talked up such a big game about this moment being such a change in character with the U-Ball. Maybe again, it's also like the book version of it all just really hits to my core of how much Hermione bonds with Crumb and starts to be her own person. Like if I'm talking iconic moments, it's probably less iconic from the films, but what it represents and what it means and the long-lasting effects and how it changes that dynamic. I think that U-Ball and that pink dress really is the moment. So as much as I love We Could Have Been Killed or Worse, Expelled, I'm actually going to lean towards U-Ball. But how are you feeling on it?
No, I'm gonna have to agree because again, it's difficult to not think about the books and everything else, but like thinking of just the films, I just think this is a great like cinematic moment of her walking down those stairs in that pink dress. So I agree with you. I think we need to go with the dress. Plus, we love costumes here.
Yes. Costumes is an easy win. Okay, and our last pre-penultimate matchup, Potions class and being frazzled versus Leviosa, not Leviosa. I think we've got to go with the Leviosa of it all. I think it's been a great run for Potion's class from HBP, but the time ends now. It can't beat her first year iconess. Yeah.
Yeah, this is such an iconic moment for Hermione, and the quote is just, it's great. So, it's Leviosa.
It's Leviosa, not Leviosa.
All right.
Now, not the final battle I would have predicted. I thought Leviosa might make it here. Didn't think the Yurball one would make it here, but this is hard. This is a hard one. Do you go the quippy quotes that we tend to think of associated with this character and has sort of made its way into greater sort of lexicon when you can say these sorts of things? Or do you go with that character development? Do you go with her being actually grow into her femininity as you described, which I just love, her being confident? I think it's so we see confidence in academics, but we don't see confidence in her social skills all the time. So I think, as we sort of said, this is that big change, and her living her Cinderella fantasy of being all dressed up and being adored and admired. She, especially from the book standpoint, you always think of Hermione as someone who's been shoved to the corner and not really desirable. So to see her in this light, and Emma Watson delivers it with that smirk of just feeling her oats and feeling her best. So but I'm confusing myself, Melissa. Where are you landing?
I think if I'm thinking of Hermione and maybe I'm just feeling nostalgic, I have to go Leviosa.
Yeah, it's also such a movie thing. That's not what I think of the books at all. Like, I'm not bringing any extra baggage. That is pure the movie.
Yeah. So I think just because the first two like hold, I guess I'm biased. Like, the first two definitely like hold that special place in my heart. For me personally, I think it has to be Leviosa.
It's the one. It's the one. She's an icon, she's a legend, and she is the moment. All the way from 2001, she sweeps the bracket.
See here, everyone. Miss Granger's done it.
It's not Leviosa. It's Leviosa. Oh.
It's Leviosa, not Leviosa.
And again, you can't, if you put on the voice every time, it's just fun to say. It's like you can't be angry while saying that quote. It puts a big smile on your face.
Exactly.
Okay, well, we made it. Round of applause. Yeah. We decided that the best Hermione Granger moment is Leviosa. Melissa, is it who you thought might have taken it out from the bracket?
I honestly really didn't know where this all was gonna go. I loved the concept of this episode, and it was a lot of fun kind of having this new format to kind of go through these moments of Hermione. But I think it makes sense. Like, again, like you're saying, I think even if you don't even know Harry Potter or Hermione very well, like, I think this is that quote that you might have heard of.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for joining us for this episode. We really do have a fun time when we're experimenting with the different formats, playing around with it. It gives us such a laugh and some great brainstorm and chatter to have. And again, made us watch the movies in a bit of a different light. I really loved that aspect of it. Melissa, where can people find us, please?
Yeah. Also, let us know, what are your favorite moments of Hermione?
Oh, yes. What did we miss?
Yeah, like, what did we miss? Do you agree with kind of what we came up with here? Or are we wrong? I don't know. Let us know in the comments. But yeah, you can find us here on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe for more. We're also on X. We're on TikTok. We're on Instagram. And hopefully going to be trying to post more. So subscribe to all those and stay tuned for more posting on the social medias of it all. And yeah, again, another perfect episode to do our iconic ending at this point of stay magical, everyone. Oh god, I didn't press the button in time. Okay, bye.
That felt good.
Not good. Brilliant.